She was one game away from escaping. One game. That was all Alex Eala needed to finish the match before everything became a nightmare. Instead, her ankle gave out, 10,000 people went completely silent, and a match that looked like it was almost over suddenly became one of the most emotional battles of her young career. But here's what makes the story even crazier. Alex wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Not physically. Not after everything she had already put her body through. Just days earlier, she had been in Washington, celebrating the biggest breakthrough of her career. Her first WTA 500 title. A trophy that changed everything. Before Washington, Alex Eala was a talented young player with enormous potential. After Washington, the tennis world had a completely different question. How far can this girl actually go? Because winning a WTA 500 title doesn't simply add another trophy to your collection. It changes how opponents look at you. It changes how fans look at you. It changes the pressure surrounding every match you play. Suddenly, you're not the young player people are excited to watch. You're the player everyone wants to beat. And Alex barely had time to process that transformation. There was no long celebration. No extended break. No chance to let her body fully recover. Instead, she packed her bags and headed to Toronto. And that's where this story became something much bigger than tennis. Because when Alex arrived in Canada, something unexpected was waiting for her. A crowd. A massive one. Her very first match was sold out. Not the final. Not a blockbuster semi-final. Not a showdown between established legends. The opening round. Thousands of people had already decided that watching Alex Eala play was worth showing up for. And that told you something. This wasn't just about rankings anymore. This wasn't just about tennis. People were connecting with her. The tournament itself was already anticipating the impact she could have on the city, and when the fans finally arrived, the atmosphere proved those expectations weren't exaggerated. Flags filled sections of the stadium. Every big point created another explosion of noise. Every time Alex looked toward the crowd, another wave of support came crashing down. For a moment, it didn't feel like a Canadian tennis tournament. It felt like an entire community had traveled across borders just to watch one young woman compete. And Alex gave them exactly what they came to see. She won her opening match in straight sets. Then came one of the smallest moments of the tournament. And somehow, it said everything. After winning, Alex turned toward the crowd and asked them for more noise. Think about that. She had just won. The stadium was already roaring. But instead of simply waving goodbye and walking off, she wanted the crowd to get even louder. And they did. That moment seemed almost harmless at the time. But it was actually the beginning of something much bigger. Because the next match brought another dangerous opponent. Another experienced player. Another test. And once again, the seats were packed. The pressure was rising. The expectations were rising. And so was Alex. Another straight-set victory. Another eruption from the crowd. Another night where the flags seemed to multiply. At this point, something had changed. The tournament was no longer simply following Alex. It was beginning to revolve around her. Broadcasters were talking about the atmosphere surrounding her matches like it was something different from a normal tennis event. And the reason was simple. Alex wasn't just bringing her game to Toronto. She was bringing an audience with her. But momentum always comes with a price. Every victory creates another expectation. Every round creates another promise. Fans begin thinking about the next match before the current one has even finished. And eventually, every athlete reaches the moment when talent isn't enough. Alex's moment came against an experienced American opponent. For the first time during this run, she wasn't completely in control. She was behind. She had to fight. She had to adjust. She had to find a way to survive. And somehow, she stole the first set. It looked like she had escaped the danger. But then the second set arrived. And everything changed. Alex's ankle gave out. Right there on the court. In front of thousands of people. Medical staff rushed toward her. The match stopped. And the stadium that had been exploding with noise just seconds earlier suddenly became almost completely silent. That silence told you everything. Nobody knew how serious it was. Nobody knew whether Alex could continue. And nobody knew whether the tournament was about to end right there. Imagine being one of those fans. You didn't just buy a ticket to watch a tennis match. You came because you believed in this player. You watched her win a WTA 500 title. You watched her arrive in Toronto. You watched the crowds grow. And now you're watching her sit on the court while medical staff examine an injured ankle. For a few moments, tennis didn't matter. Rankings didn't matter. The tournament didn't matter. Everyone was simply waiting to see if Alex could stand up. And then she did. That alone would have been enough for most people. But Alex wasn't finished. She taped the ankle. She returned to the court. And somehow, she kept fighting. Then came the cruelest part of the entire match. Alex reached the point where she was just one game away from closing everything out. One game. She could have finished the match, walked off the court, and allowed the nightmare to end. But that game never came. Her opponent saw the opening. She attacked. 3 straight games followed. The second set disappeared. And suddenly, Alex Eala was heading into a deciding third set with a damaged ankle. This wasn't just another third set. Think about what had already happened. A WTA 500 title in Washington. Travel. Another tournament. More matches. Doubles duty alongside a legend. And now an injured ankle. Her body had every reason to say enough. But her mind wasn't listening. This is the part of sports that never shows up properly in statistics. You can measure aces. You can measure winners. You can measure rankings. But you can't measure the decision an athlete makes when every part of their body is telling them to stop and they choose to continue. That decision reveals something. And Alex revealed a lot about herself that night. She didn't need to look perfect. She didn't need to dominate. She just needed to survive. Point by point, she started pulling herself back into the match. The momentum had shifted. The crowd was nervous. Her opponent could see the physical problem. But Alex kept fighting. 1 point. Then another. 1 game. Then another. And eventually, she finished the job. The third set belonged to Alex. The match was hers. And the stadium erupted. But this wasn't the celebration of a normal victory. There was relief mixed into the noise. Because everyone knew what they had just watched. Alex hadn't simply beaten another opponent. She had survived herself. She had survived the pressure. She had survived the pain. And most importantly, she had survived a moment when losing would have been completely understandable. That is what separates a talented player from a dangerous competitor. Talent makes people notice you. Resilience makes people believe in you. And Toronto had just witnessed resilience from extremely close range. 7 straight singles victories across 2 countries. A WTA 500 title. A brutal travel schedule. Doubles matches. And now a 3-set battle on an injured ankle. Yet somehow, Alex was still standing. And that's when the story became even more complicated. Because the tournament wasn't finished. Waiting in the next round was a Swiss veteran. An Olympic gold medalist. Someone who had already experienced the biggest stages tennis could offer. This wasn't another young player trying to make a name. This was a proven champion. And suddenly, the atmosphere inside the stadium felt different. The fans knew what Alex had just been through. They had seen the ankle buckle. They had seen the medical timeout. They had seen her struggle. They had watched her almost close the match before losing the second set. So when Alex walked back onto the court, the crowd wasn't simply cheering for a victory anymore. They were hoping her body would hold together long enough to give her a chance. That's a completely different kind of support. And it's one of the clearest signs that Alex Eala's relationship with her audience had changed. They weren't just watching her because she was winning. They were watching because they cared what happened to her. That distinction matters. Because Alex's rise didn't begin in Toronto. The foundation had been built much earlier. There was the breakthrough in Miami that forced people outside the Philippines to start.